Guess where we are? Where are we?
Where?
In where? We just made it to Entebbe, Uganda. We finally made it to Uganda. This is really exciting. First time in the last 5 years that I get to be home and bring Anthony with me. I mean, come on. This is really, really cool. So I'm really excited that I get to be here. When I became a foster parent, my kids come and go. So I never thought that I would have kids who would be my kids that I would adopt. And then I go to adopt one. During that time, COVID happened, So I waited. While I was waiting, I got more kids, So I thought, man, how do I take 4 children to my country? And that I had to work so hard. As you know, I work for World Vision. I get to travel over the world, also within the United States. But I always travel by myself, Again, when you're going to work, it's not like you can bring your children. But this time, I got an opportunity where they said, hey, you can bring your son. I was like, wait, what? One, I knew he's 18, he's going to college, and I wanted him to have the opportunity to go see where I come from. Think about that these kids have a dad who's from Uganda, but they have no clue what is Uganda all about. And I know I can tell them all about Uganda. Every day I can say, hey, this is what I ate, this is how I went to fetch water, this is how we buy food, this is how we cook, this is how my food tastes like. Well, as a child, when they're listening to that, it's kind of like, Dad, are you sure what you're saying is true? But I knew the only way I can get them to experience Uganda, experience where I come from, experience the food I eat, experience the things I like that sometimes find weird, was to bring them here. But I knew I could not bring them all until this opportunity came. So I was like, yes, I'm going for work, but if I can bring Anthony to me, that would be wonderful. But also there was a twist to that, My little brother who lives in Uganda was getting married. So I thought I can combine going for work, but get to really have an opportunity to take Anthony to see an African wedding that he'd never seen before. So when that opportunity came, I said, it doesn't matter how much it's gonna cost me, I'm gonna take him. And that's how it all began, He didn't know he was coming because I didn't want to tell him because I wasn't sure, will that happen? But once I knew it would happen, I said, hey, son, you're going to my country. And he's like, really? Where? Uganda? I say, yep.
This is O'Hara.
Whenever my dad first told me that I was going to get to come to Uganda, where he was from, it was amazing. It was hard to believe because I was so used to everything in America and how we did things there that it was hard to imagine life somewhere else, And so on the plane rides, I slept a decent bit, but I also thought about how am I going to react whenever I get there? How am I going to be perceived by everyone else?
He was super excited to come, and I was excited as well that he gets to meet my entire family. Not just work, but he gets to meet my dad, my mom, everybody in my family. That he's gonna meet them and really get to know who they are. I didn't tell my family, because I wasn't sure. I didn't want to surprise them, but I kept it as a secret. And finally, I got to tell my family, like, hey, I'm coming to Uganda and I'm bringing my son. And they were like, aren't you bringing the whole family? I said, no, just one. And that's how I truly brought Anthony with me. He was super excited, as any teenager can be, looking forward to seeing where his dad comes from. These kids are Americans, they've never been outside the United States. So for him to have an opportunity to come to Uganda, I think he was nervous, but at the same time, super, super excited. And I think for me as a proud dad, I was really excited to bring him to Uganda so he can see what life for his dad looks like. What life was when he was younger, what life was, what he eats, what he plays, what his people look like. All those little small things that I could not explain in words, that he gets to experience that. First of all, we came with a group. So once he saw other people coming, I think that really helped him to say, you know what? This is really cool. The other people are coming. And as soon as we arrived, you could see his eyes like, wow, I cannot believe in Africa. It's surprising. We are known everywhere in the world, So it was funny that the people at the customs office were hugging him and saying, welcome to Uganda. We know you, Anthony. And he's like, wait, what? Everyone knows me, Yes. So lots of people who follow us got to meet him at the airport. I think that was really a good first point to like, wow, people know me. in my dad's country, you know? And that was really a warm feeling for him to come. And then once we got out of the airport, you know, he got to smell, you know, see the word, welcome to Uganda. And he's like, wow, I am in Uganda. And that was really a joy to see his face, you know, kind of like, wow, I'm here. And that was a joy to drive to the hotel and, you know, get to see what hotels look like in Uganda.
They have a word for me here, Muzunga, meaning white man. You know, and it's been such a journey this entire time. We landed here in Africa, and it was so different. You know, there wasn't so many skyscrapers or everything. Everything was ground level. So that was amazing. We met with the World Vision team that we were there with. We were here with World Vision to do a chosen event where the kid could pick their adult back in the United States who would sponsor them. They were told to like pick their family, and their faces lit up. And they realized, I get to pick who sponsors me. And so it was amazing watching them go up, and they got to pick their chosen. And so normally how it used to be is the family would pick a kid, but this time the kid got to choose a family. And so it was amazing to see the roles reversed. And it was amazing knowing that those kids would be able to get the help that they need and the sponsorship that they need from those loving families who care and who actually want to help. And it was an amazing experience. And it was amazing to see that those kids, they were just pushing through every moment, and they were enjoying life with the moment that they had. And so that was amazing.
This time, he had an opportunity to truly see the impact we get to make as that job, you know, as World Vision really works. So he's never been on a small plane. So we first got on a small plane, you know, that seats about, I don't know, 7 people, 8 people. So that was nervous because it was flying so low, and he's able to see the entire, you know, half of Uganda, Lake Victoria, the Nile, you know, and travel north. So that was shocking for him because he had to see Uganda up in the air, which was really cool. That he really enjoyed seeing and smelling it. So which was cool. And then once we arrived in Soroti, because this church sponsors kids in Soroti, so we had to visit the APS in Soroti, which is wonderful. You know, we had to go to the most remote place you could think of. I don't think he'd ever been on a dirt road, you know, that you can drive for 2 hours straight, you know. They call it massage, you know, massage drive when you're driving and the car's bumping and out, and we're like, yeah, that's a massage for you, you know.
We were going back and forth between the hotel, and those roads were bumpy. You think you got it rough in America, but man, those roads are 100 times worse. I'm never gonna complain about a bumpy road again.
And then he got to meet the kids, you know, he got to see how they get the water, you know. I think that was shocking for him, that he could not see that people share the same water as they share with the animals. So he was able to go fetch water and bring to the family, you know. And I think that was shock for him to realize that, wow, I'm so lucky that all I can do, I can turn on a tap in my home, I get hot water and get cold water. But these people have to walk, not just to get water, but dirty water, and have to walk for miles and miles. And I think that was shocking for him. Why are you tired now? See, where I have muscles, that's how I got muscles. Through hard work.
Everything in America is hundreds and hundreds of times bigger, both in size and quantity. We have more than we need, and we throw it away. And that made me realize it whenever I came by. They survive off the bare minimum, you know, but they still have smiles on their faces because they have each other. And that is something that I wish that we had back in America, is a better sense of community than we have now. And so I realized that all the mud huts, everybody, the dirt, some of those kids, you look at their feet and it's just caked up with dirt. And I realized I have it so good in America. We did the water walk. Dude, that was tough, you know? And I realized they have to do this every single day. Sometimes they spill water, sometimes it's just struggle, sometimes they take forever. For us, it's just 2 to 3 steps to the nearest sink or faucet. And we got water there, fresh, clean, purified water. They have dirty bacteria water that we couldn't drink. It would kill us if we did. But they drink it every day because they need to. And so that made me appreciate what I have in America a lot more. It was eye-opening, really, to see that, how much we take things for granted. I don't want to take things for granted anymore. I appreciate what I have a lot better. And the community that we did the water walk for, they are working on getting a water pump. They're helping get the funds for that and the pipes and everything. So soon they won't have to walk that far. They'll just have the couple steps and walk. I sponsored a kid and she picked me, and she had a malaria rap case. And it was intriguing to realize that, dang, you know, this is a serious case for them. With us, we could just go to the doctor, get it done. But with them, not so much. We also saw the actual hospitals that they have. Simple one-story hospital, a couple wings, where the mother will come and give birth. And he told us that before they had hospitals, a lot of mothers were dying just from birth. But they said now, no mothers are dying, thankfully. And so it was amazing to see all of them, you know, just persevering. Breastfeeding, they don't care about doing that in private. They'll do it in public. So that was a bit of a culture shock to me, I will say. But it was still interesting because everybody knew each other, they cared for each other, and they helped each other push through, even in the toughest of times.
I could not ask for more. You know, the experience that he got to see, you know, poverty, but at the same time, I really get to see where it comes from and what the rest of the world comes from. So that was really good to see, you know, lack of water, lack of school. You got to see kids walk for miles and miles, you know, and he could not believe, like, wait, what? For me, I have to catch the bus. I have to do all this, you know, but seeing kids who were struggling, kids who have no future, you know, kids who don't have food. You know, he was shocked to see kids with no shoes on. And he's like, they have no shoes. I'm like, Anthony, but what they are wearing is their best clothes for Sunday, you know? And that thing that really got to him. But for me too, it was touching that he was willing to welcome them, he was willing to embrace them. And he was really also shocked as well, like, well, I ought to be careful, but also grateful at the same time. So that was a really neat thing to watch him do. That was fun.
High five.
We're almost there. So how does it feel? Think about if you have to do that twice a day. And these kids do it from the age of 3. They go get water.